Hey, my narcissistic abuse family. Happy Friday. We're in the throes of this coronavirus quarantine, and I have to admit, it's pretty crazy. I did my makeup at my kitchen table in a little compact this morning as I'm trying to homeschool our two children, 6-year-old and an 8-year-old. That's a lot. I have a whole new appreciation for the school system, and I know my children in ways that I could have done without knowing them in terms of neediness in regard to school. Anyway, so, all right, we're under quarantine here. So, I wanted to speak today about what the narcissist is going to do with this pandemic going on, as the narcissist does with any and every situation, special circumstance. Everything revolves around them. They are myopic, they're egocentric, they're self-centered. Every single adjective pertaining to self-obsession. That's our narcissistic abusers out there. So, as with everything, the narcissist is going to take this circumstance and exploit it for themselves, for their own benefit. And I have a couple ways that they will inevitably do this. My narc mother already did this, so I know it's happening. I know hopefully it won't happen to you, but if it does, you know what's coming. You know what they do. They're very predictable. So my narcissistic mother text messaged my husband to make sure we're okay and everyone's okay. Like, she does not give a crap. Narcissists are incapable of genuine empathy, compassion, anything related to having a soul or a heart. They can't do it. They don't have it. So she asked him because she wanted him, obviously, to ask her how they're doing. But everything has an ulterior motive, right? So I have a couple ways that the narcissist is going to exploit this global pandemic to assert their agendas, their false script that they have invented. Okay, so the first way is that they will use it, as my narc mother did, to break no contact. They'll use it as an excuse. We're concerned about you. We want to... My hair's crazy. We're concerned about you. We want to make sure you are okay. But they're doing it to elicit your interest in them or your concern for them. Because as we know, the narcissist targets supply that are decent, good human beings with tons of empathy, usually empaths, and it totally goes against our nature to not be caring and concerned and more interested in the other person than we are in ourselves. So the narcissist is trying to, reel you back in by feigning concern for you so that you can reciprocally ask them how they're doing. So they'll use it to break no contact. That was my first thing. They'll use it as an excuse to just, as my toxic duo has done, just sweep everything under the rug. They avoid all accountability, responsibility whatsoever for the wrongs that they have done, for their faults. They will never acknowledge anything wrong that they have done ever. So they just want to push it aside and forge ahead, which historically has worked, I guess, in my situation. I've always, because you want so badly to have like real loving, caring parents, you're just like, if I just let this go, we can move ahead. I'll have another opportunity to break through to them, to get them to legitimately care about me. but it never happens. It's just a cycle. It just keeps repeating itself. It's a hamster wheel of dysfunction and craziness, and the narcissist keeps taking advantage of it, keeps perpetuating it. They don't ever want to make changes. They want to control everything, and so they will just keep forging ahead, as mine are doing, with their self-serving agendas, trying to forward their own interests and achieve what they are looking to do, which is to just maintain contact so they can continue to exploit me and my fabulous family, and to act like they're real parents, like to act like she's a real mother and like she has anything to do with us. So the narcissist in your life will use this terrible situation, this global pandemic, to try to break contact or to try to invade boundaries that you have set. They'll just act like, oh, everything's fair game. I'm coming back with a vengeance. That's what the narc will do first. They will also, as I said, like my narc mom asked my husband, like, feigning concern over myself and our children, like, how are you doing? It's because they're trying to elicit the same question in their direction. They want as they do all the time, they just want to talk about themselves, and they always portray themselves as the victim. So in spite of the rest of the world suffering, it's all about them. How is it impacting them? I know my narcissistic, dysfunctional parents are older. They're like approaching their 70s. So no doubt, all of the talk about this impacting like older people, she's just sitting there like soaking it all in, like, oh, this is my time to shine. Like, I'm going to exploit the crap out of this, and I'm just going to play this violin for anyone that will listen. So they're very egocentric. They're self-centered. Everything they do is undoubtedly in an effort to forward their own agendas, their self-serving purposes every time. They will also, this one, I can't tell you how thrilled I am to be an adult because of this last one that I'm going to discuss. So when I was younger, I was driving, but it was a blizzard, like a legitimate blizzard. I think it was like declared an emergency or something, when people aren't supposed to leave or drive and all that stuff. So I was driving. At the time, I had my little Ford Escort, and it was not good in bad weather. It was fine. I mean, it served its purpose, but my narcissistic mother loved to try to, this is my last one, they'll use this excuse to enforce their pathological space. So I'm so sorry. If you're living in a home with this person, you have my heart. It is torture, but there's an end in sight. You will escape this toxicity at some point. We all grow up. You'll get away from them. So anyway, so what I was saying was I was trapped in this wicked lair of torture. I was so miserable in that house. And she would use, and my narc mother would use any excuse to be like, oh, you can't go anywhere. You have to stay home. Because narcissists love control. So they'll use the pandemic, the quarantine, all that to enforce their pathological space because they're obsessed with control. But anyway, so back to this storm, this blizzard. So it was a blizzard, and I serial dated people. So I was in a relationship, and I think I was a senior in high school. I was probably like 17 years old. And I was talking to my boyfriend. I was like, I'll be right there, like saying that I was going to leave my house and go see him. Holy bananas. I will never forget. The roads were, you couldn't even see the road, like a major highway, like Route 80. Couldn't even see it. Everything was just white. And I think there was like some snow plows out, so maybe that's how I managed to keep myself on the road. But I was like, hell or high water, I was getting the hell out of that house. I hated being there, hated being around her, around them, the whole dysfunctional unit. So I hit the road in a blizzard to get the hell out of that miserable home. Narcissists will use any catastrophe, inclement weather, anything to try to enforce their pathological space. They love it. It's like their jam. It's their time to shine again. So, all right, my kids came up from the basement. They're playing down there. It's finished. It's not like cruel circumstances or anything like that. But, you know, everybody needs a little space sometimes, like, so I can make this video. Anyway, you guys, I hope everybody's doing okay in spite of this crisis. I'm so excited. I'm going to show the dining room that my husband is going to finish, I think, tomorrow. You know, all the mayhem that's been going on in our home with this construction, kids, dog, all of it. But I'm probably going to show it on my Instagram account. So within the next couple of days. It's so cool, you guys. So if you want to check that out, check out my Instagram. I'll probably post it in stories. Happy spring. Today's the first day of spring. And stay safe, everybody. Enjoy the quarantine. It's not the worst thing in the world. I feel like everyone being home with their families, it's always a good thing, right? Can't be, unless your family's a narc. Like you have a narc mother. My sincerest condolences if that's the case, but we're getting through it. We're bumped and we're bruised, but more than anything, we're blessed because we have this insight, this appreciation and compassion that we would not have had it not been for these wicked people. So, God bless you guys. I'll see you soon.